Hello, I am Hideo Suzuki, the producer of Attack on Titan 2 Final Battle.
So let's start off very easy. What's new for Final Battle? How have things changed from the original Attack on Titan 2 game?
Okay, so there are three new facets to Final Battle compared to Attack on Titan 2. One is that it covers the entirety of the season 3 anime season 3, not only part 1 but also part 2. Secondly, it added a number of new action systems, including the Thunder Spear attack, as well as an anti-personnel ODM combat system. And last but not least, this final battle includes a territory recovery mode, which is entirely original to this game. It's independent from the canon, where the player can join force with other characters and retake the territories from the human territories from Titans, and it has a high it has a high value of replayability. So.
Were there any challenges in balancing the combat since you had to introduce, now you have long-range weapons, which is new to the series, and you also have human-on-human combat for the first time in the series. How much did you have to, change about the gameplay and balance in order to make it work?
Okay, so by introducing the new projectile weapons, we had to readjust the algorithm of the Titans, basically their reactions and their motions, so that firing from a distance doesn't simply just lower the difficulty of the game. So that part was rather challenging. And also with Thunder Spear, you shoot it like a missile, and it's quite powerful. And so how to limit the use and how to reach the right balance was also another thing that we had trouble with. But at the end, I think everything turned out all right.
Yeah, it's been very interesting to see the combat evolve from the first one into where it is now, because in the first one it was a very just straightforward, attack and be done. Now you have like critical aiming and things like that. Where would you like to see the combat evolve from here?
Yes, indeed. The action system has come a long way, from blades to firearms, and even with thunder spears, and a number of new elements. So currently, I'm rather satisfied with the way things are. But looking into the future, yes, it will be. First of all, it will be very challenging to provide like a new game experience for our fans. But if given the chance, I would like to welcome the challenge and maybe add more motions and cool actions to the existing, say, blade actions or new ways of just attacking Titans. So yes, that's something I have to keep looking into in the future.
Now, one of the things you mentioned adding was the control assistance feature for players who might not be hardcore gamers but might be fans of the manga or anime. How difficult is it to make a game that's going to appeal to hardcore gamers, but also having to keep it in the back of your head that there's going to be a whole audience that might not play games regularly that are going to be playing this?
Yes, we've noticed that the mentality and behavior between hardcore gamers and anime IP fans are quite different. We've had fans who bought the game simply because they loved Attack on Titan, but didn't know where the square button was. So it goes without saying that we always consider the IP fans to be one of the primary targets that we need to appeal to. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we mindlessly lowers the difficulty, right? For example, one of the core system for this game is the ODM battle system. So before appealing to both fans, it has to be fun. It has to feel good. So that's our starting point, and our approach is always about first to make the game enjoyable. It has to be fun for everybody. Then to support some of the casual gamers, what can we do to accommodate, to help them better experience the game? So with that approach in mind, I think we succeeded in implementing things and satisfying all gamers.
What's it like working on a Musu game that's so unique like this? So many games in this genre are just about having massive amounts of enemies thrown at you, but here it's a smaller amount of much larger enemies. And how did you change your approach when you first learned you were going to be working on the Attack on Titan series as far as making Musu games goes?
Okay, so first of all, this is not a Muso game, and we didn't approach it as a Muso game. And even before that, the author, Mr. Isayama, also told us, "Don't turn it into a Muso." So that was a given. And then because in the world of Attack on Titan, Titans are terrifying beings. We're feeble humans with limited actions and capacity have to take on. So one way or another, it wasn't going to be a Muso game, but we had many. Well, this is I think by now I can disclose this, but we had many alpha versions because there were a lot of trial and errors. Initially, this game, Attack on Titan Alpha, was really difficult. Players manually did everything. Did everything, and when we did internal reviews within the company, other department, they all found this game impossible to play. Only the dev team could handle what it was. So basically, we had to scrap and then rebuild, scrap and rebuild. We did it over a long period of time. And eventually, based on other feedbacks, we other departments also helped us to get the right feel of the game. So at the end of the day, I think just the hardcore trial and error is really the only way to go when establishing new series and new territories, going into new territories.
Speaking of new territory, you have a territory mode now in this new version. It reminded the home world that you build reminded me a lot of the bases and the base management systems in the Metal Gear series. Was that a direct influence over the new territory mode?
Yes and no, because he's obviously he's played Metal Gear Solid in the past, but really wasn't the case because the starting point for this team management is to be able to put new members to good use, after recruiting them. So then the next logical step would be to basically be able to utilize their abilities or their traits, right? So let's put them to work. And then the next step would be between the right combination of characters, they should have a boosting effect for something. So it's just one thing leads to another, and at some point somebody told them, this is what you see in Metal Gear Solid, right? And I was like, I suppose. so that's kind of how it went.
It just kind of happened. All right. So you showed me some really cool new weapons that are in the game. There's this sort of a laser beam gun that you showed, and then you also showed off some really cool electrical blades. I was just curious, what's the funnest part of designing this stuff? Is it going in and creating all these new weapons? Is it coming up with new combat features, or is it coming up with new modes, or do you just love it all?
It is really hard to decide on one the most. So let me just allow me to say a couple. Well, first of all, one unique thing about this game is the development happened at the same time when the anime team is creating the season 3. So both the game and the anime production happened concurrently, and sometimes we were ahead of the game than them. So for me to work closely with the anime team was a whole new experience for me, and that's something I really cherish. The other thing, the next would be the new action system, whether it's Thunder Spear or Firearm, because my top priority was to introduce new gaming experience in this final battle. So that I put a lot of effort into too. So that's also very memorable. And last but not least, the territory recovery mode. This is something that I wanted to do since the first game, right? Because I know that a lot of fans have their own favorite characters, and I really wanted to create a game mode where one character doesn't outweigh the other, that everybody gets an equal chance, and everybody can basically kind of like achieve their dream in this mode, and to be able to finally realizing this was also meant a lot to me. So these are the things equally important to me in the development of this game.
When will Attack on Titan 2 Final Battle be coming out?
Okay, so the game will come out on July 5th on PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and Steam.